Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be giving my honest opinion on the First Descendant Cross-play Beta. I'm going to be talking about everything that I liked during the beta and everything I didn't. Timestamps will be on the screen in case you want to skip ahead, but I do recommend watching the entire video to get my general opinion on the beta. If you have any questions to me on my thoughts of the beta, leave a comment down below, and as I do read every comment left, and let's get on to the video. Now for this first part, I want to cover everything that I did like during the beta. Firstly, the optimization for the game was far better comparing it to the beta which happened last October. Actually being able to load into areas with consistent frames without major stuttering every 5 seconds or being able to see textures clipping into one another, in my opinion, was a great success. Secondly, the sounds. Throughout the year we had been given dev updates and notes around all the sound changes, and actually being able to experience the sounds in person was amazing to feel. Comparing it to the first beta where guns sounded a bit too weak, the characters were rambling on, especially Bunny, constantly hearing her giggle every 5 seconds. Going into this beta and hearing guns that actually felt like they were powerful and characters not blabbering in your ear every 5 seconds. It was very nice to actually be able to play the game and focus on that, whilst also having good sound design in the background to listen to. The combat music, whilst it was a bit still wonky in my opinion, there was points where if you'd have shot your gun, the battle music would start pumping up. I feel like they should tweak it a bit. But the actual music itself, it was really good to listen to. I remember day one going in with a few friends and I had the music cranked up to max. And I don't know why I had the music cranked up to max, but actually hearing the battle music, and I heard it first during the preview and I tried to keep it down, but actually hearing it in the beta, and I'm pretty sure everyone who heard the battle music actually got pumped to get into battles and get into fights, because some games they do it here's a bit of music and here's a bit of an increased tempo and stuff. This game, it increased the tempo, it actually made the missions feel more energetic to be in. My next positive thing to say about the beta was the mod system. Whilst there was quite a lot of people that did not like the fact that you cannot no longer stack just damage mods on everything, or you can't do all these meta builds and everything like that, and you have to use the certain mods in one of each type. I honestly prefer that type of system. I don't like games that have a system, take it like Warframe. I don't like Warframe system where you can literally just get a sniper rifle and stack max damage on it, ignoring reload time, accuracy, all this stuff. You can ignore all that, you can just stack max damage. I particularly don't like those type of games anymore, so I've quit Warframe. Having an actual gun stand out to be a gun where you've got to mod it out specifically, even though there are mods for increased reload time, but they also increase your weak point hit or your critical damage. It balances it out so it's not just stacking max damage on it, you've kind of got to balance it around, and I quite like that. I will say it was a bit hard understanding some of the mods sometimes though. I heard this criticism from quite a lot of people. The localization on the actual mod descriptions were kind of a bit hit and miss. Some people could understand them, whilst some mods were just like, hey, we increased this one thing. What is this one thing you're on about? No clue. It was a bit hit and miss, and I feel like before launch they need to work on the localization for all the mods and actually give us a better description of what they do. Because at least for me, I stopped playing the beta early on, but I will say a few of my friends did say the localization kind of destroyed it for them, because it was, whilst trying to figure out a build, it was also trying to figure out what the build mod or the mods you're putting into the build actually did. And it was kind of I feel like for the theory crafters and everything out there, they need something that actually tells them what the mod does more fluently, instead of just being like, hey, here's a thing, it has this stat and this stat decreases. Good luck. For the final parts of this part, it is a very short area in the video, but it is also because I don't have a lot to say good about this. We'll get into a bit more on the last part, but my final part is the end game. It does have good potential for end game. I'll compare it to Warframe real quick. Warframe had good potential for end game when they had raids, and they got rid of them. This game, I consider the void bosses kind of raid-like. They're not super in-depth raids, you've got to do all these mechanics and go fight multiple bosses. It is just a boss at the end, but they actually have mechanics. Of course, they need to tune down Devourer, as a lot of people were having criticism that Devourer was just too strong, too tanky, certain things didn't work, and of course, over time, people learned how to actually kill Devourer. I feel like the grappling hooks especially in void bosses, need a bit more range to them because it was kind of hard to grapple sometimes. But overall, the bosses actually felt really good to fight. I went into the preview seeing the bosses first hand. We couldn't play all of them because the preview had issues with that. But actually watching streamers go through the void bosses and being able to kill them, the void bosses looked cool as hell. From the last beta where the void bosses sometimes bugged out or whatnot, this beta, the bosses felt so good to actually fight and have a good mechanics. And of course, if you didn't beat it, literally you just have to find a good team. I'm hoping during up to launch they do figure out a lot of the bugs that made the void inceptions a walk in the park with damage bugs, or they also need to figure out that anti-cheat, because there had been multiple times in the Discord that people had said, hey, this one person finished the boss in 2 seconds because he one-tapped them. There is things like that. So I will say, overall, all my thoughts overall good about the game. There was about maybe a 6 out of 10. I would say it's about neutral on my thoughts on it being good. Now, for everything I didn't like during the beta, you might as well grab yourself a drink and some snacks, because this is going to be a lot more. Firstly, while I was praising the optimization for the game actually running smoothly, the servers themselves actually ran terribly. From constant stuttering and lag spikes to mass people posting in the Discord that they're having server problems, to even some people posting that they had automatically been suspended from the game prior to even actually playing the game. The server issues caused most of the issues, and it is what kind of caused me to stop playing the game pretty early on. I probably stopped playing about 3 or 4 days prior to the beta ending. Now, being inside of a void mission when you were playing the game, it was great. The void missions were fun and everything, but when you're constantly crashing or the game is just shutting off without any warning or error, or you'll be playing it and then suddenly you're back on the main screen because the server's just crashed. It was quite annoying. They've had about 10 months to sort out the issues from the first beta, and I understood during the first beta, I went into expecting, okay, there's going to be server issues. But having a 10-month gap from the first beta and going into this one and seeing the servers in a state they were, it felt like they kind of took a step back in terms of progress with the stability. And also they did address the issues in the Discord and they tried to fix them. If it's your first impression going into a game and you constantly see server crashing, you're being disconnected. Hell, if you were a streamer and you had your first impression being that you got suspended from a game that you hadn't even played, I'm pretty sure for a lot of people, they would have just left at that point. Now for my second point, and I think it's one thing most people can understand, while some people have a bit of a disagreement with, it is the actual story characters themselves. While most people did hate Jeremy in the campaign, it is, in a sad way to say, it was the only character that actually had emotion to him. When going through the campaign myself for the first time, I ignored it in the preview because I wanted to stay spoiler-free for the campaign. Going through the campaign, whilst the animations are cool and all the cutscenes are cool and the fight in the first part was really cool to do, it was kind of lackluster emotionally wise. The characters just did not feel like they were a real person. They felt like they were made by ChatGPT. Some of the voices, like Alpha, just had a monotone voice. The guide was kind of just lackluster and kind of felt just like a copy-paste of Warframe. It seems like they were going down, for Alpha at least, like the very typical average commander route, have a deep voice and no emotion. Meanwhile, Jeremy, understand he was hated during the beta, but he also was the only character that kind of had emotion, had some thought of brain inside of him that was actually doing it. His voice actor, probably was the only voice actor that we heard during the beta that sounded like he was having fun with his character. Maybe for launch, the voice acting will improve, maybe they'll readjust some things, but for the beta itself, it just felt like lackluster to actually just bother listening. I probably got just past Kingston and then started skipping all the dialogue because I couldn't be asked really listening to any more of the dialogue, just having that monotone voice inside of my head. But the third thing I didn't like about the beta was directed at the void bosses. Was there a cool fight and mechanics? For some unknown reason, the devs didn't limit the level requirement to join in them. Like, if you were going into a hard intercept boss battle like Dead Bride or Hanged Man, even Frostwalker, There had been multiple times where you would see a random like level 5 or someone not max level join in those fights, and then you'll turn from a 4-player difficulty boss fight to 4 players, but you actually only have 3 players while you're also reviving the one person who's joined really low leveled every 20 seconds because he thought, I've only played Bunny, I've just forwarded my Bunny. Let's go into a void boss battle without actually being prepared for the fight. It kind of felt like there was no restrictions other than, hey, you've completed the quest, going and fight at any level you want, especially when you were randomly matchmaking. And this doesn't go for like group play, because that was of course your own fault for doing it and your group's fault. But if you're matchmaking randomly and you're just getting paired up against, hey, you've just group like queued into a lobby, you've got 3 people who are underleveled as hell, and you're going to have to be doing all the carrying for the entire fight. It kind of felt like, I'm hoping for launch they have actual restrictions in place, but for this beta, it just didn't feel like there's any restrictions. For my 4th topic is going to be not the game itself, but the lead up to the game's kind of announcement. During the downtime of 10 months, we were waiting for news about the game. There was quite a few of us in the Discord active. It was like me, myself, Venom, Defiant. We saw Jason in there, who was one of the mods. He was actually active with the community. But that was it. Jason was the only one who kind of actually spoke to us and interacted with us. And outside of him, no other mods really interacted with us. The admins in there did not interact or give us anything to look forward to. The community manager, still don't know who the person is. We know they have one, we just don't know who they actually are. They've never interacted with the Discord at all. So it was kind of a bit like, hey, we've left you in the dark now for 10 months. Here's a sprinkle of dev notes we'll give you, but we won't actually speak to you. It kind of felt like if they were trying to advertise it and try and keep the community alive, they would do that. But it kind of felt like after the beta, they just left the Discord to die, no interaction. And it was kind of up to the core community members in there to try and keep it alive. And even during the beta, there wasn't any actual interaction with the mods or the community managers. Of course, there was a lot of people spamming questions and stuff. But I feel like, especially when you boot up the game, it tells you to join the Discord. I feel like they should have already had in place quite a few channels that it auto-directs you to, which tells you all the information, saying Twitch drops, if you're going to keep all your progress after the beta, where certain things drop, especially as the days progress, you can update channels because it's no longer really going to be spoilers. It's just going to be helpful information that the general question that's being asked. Let's add it to this page where everyone can view without having to go through multiple community support requests or asking in general and praying someone actually answers you. It felt very dumb not to have anything in place ready for like questions which people are going to be asking quite frequent. And in the end, it was, for me, Jason was the only mod. Jason, he's the only one who has actually spoken to us. He feels like the community manager. We know he's not the community manager, but he feels like he should be the community manager because he's the only one who actually interacts with us and speaks to the community in a way that it isn't just like a robot copy-paste voice or as in text form voice. Most of the mods that have interacted it's either been just the exact same copy-paste message or blank silence. And it feels like for the Discord being left 10 months to kind of just have the Discord go on by itself, it kind of felt like, hey, we've just left this Discord to die until our next beta. And I feel like that's going to happen with the beta just ending today. And the Discord's now going to be left to die and only resurge when the full launch does come out, or if there is another beta next to it. Now, for my final point, this is going to be directed kind of towards Lurk and the content creator program. And me saying this, I don't have anything against anyone who was a part of the content creator program themselves, but I do have to say it was handled very poorly. From my point of view, it wasn't really built for people who are in the community already or interested in the game. It was, hey, meet these requirements, you can join. But sure, this helps marketing a bunch because you will get a bunch of people from different backgrounds wanting to play the game, and also if they're streamers or YouTubers, they can create content around it. Problem I saw for it was a lot of people joined. There was a list that someone posted that had over like 200 people in the program themselves. But after day one, most of those people had quit the game. If it wasn't their like cup of tea or anything like that, I can understand. But it also felt like a big kind of fuck you to the people who wanted to join, people like myself, I've been making content on it. I had been active in the community, Discord, constantly speaking, trying to help people out. I applied for it, and of course, my requirements at the time for YouTube and Twitch did not match. I stopped streaming, and I'd only just started doing YouTube, and it just didn't feel like I couldn't, of course, get in. I asked about it, and still no, because hey, you don't have the requirements, but you've been active type thing. It kind of felt like a big kind of fuck you. The other point was the preview itself. If people didn't know, during the 2nd to the 6th, I believe those were the timelines, or it could have been a few days earlier, there was a preview held for content creators, and you'd think that would be linked to the content creator program. No. This was a different list which the PR manager had access to, and they sent out the codes for it. So if you were on the content creator team, cool and all, but you weren't actually a content creator that managed to get into the preview itself to create content, which I think is the main point of the content creator program. It was kind of a, hey, we've got to select people that are going to get into the preview instead. I only got in myself because of a friend called Liam XP. I'll put his Twitch on screen now. He got me in, he got me a code, and I got to play it for a few days early. I feel like that was kind of handled just badly, because it was, in my view, it was a thing that was meant to get advertised the game early and get point across like, hey, this is what the game is going to be like. These are some things to look forward to. We had access to everything so we could build test, and unless you were on that list, you weren't getting into the preview. And that's kind of it. I'm gonna not continue with this one chapter for a bit, because I feel like I'm rambling on for a bit too long. There are plenty more reasons I didn't like the beta themselves, but if you do want to know more about it and stuff like that, and you want to hear me ramble more, feel free to join my Discord, or you can leave a comment down below and I'll try and respond to everything I can. To reflect on the chapter before as well, the rating I gave the game is a 6 out of 10, and this is, while I'm also excited for the game, when I first saw the game I was super excited for. Going into this, before the preview, I was not excited for it at all. I didn't know about the preview until a friend had told me about it, and we had questioned about it, and when I got into the preview I was more excited. And then going into the game, I was excited to play, and then after day one, I was very disappointed. And at this point, with the beta ending, I can confidently say that whilst I'm looking forward to launch, I'm not excited for the game anymore. I've lost quite a lot of my hype for the game, just simply due to the server issues or just constant issues popping up. I've kind of lost a lot of my hype for the game over the past week. And I'll be playing the game when it launches, but I'm not going to be playing it hardcore, I don't think, because this beta had kind of made me lose hope for the game. But I am going to end it on this point, as it has been rambling on for quite a bit, and we'll move on to the next section. Now, for the last part of the video, I'm going to be going over my general thoughts and what they can do to improve on the beta. And of course, straight out the bat, servers. They need to improve the servers drastically if they're thinking of launching either this year, which they aimed to do originally, or early next year. Because right now, if they don't work on the servers themselves, upon launch, the game won't die, I don't believe, but will take a drastic hit in the popularity, because all people will think about this game would be, hey, that's the game which had issues in the beta with servers and then didn't fix them. It could happen to what Payday 3 recently did. They had issues in the beta which they held for servers, and then when they launched, the servers were still god-awful and caused quite a lot of backlash on the game. I myself played the beta, I was happy with it, and then when I actually played the game itself, the servers shit the bed and I stopped playing to the point of refunding the game. So I feel like the servers, that is the main key point they need to get across first. They don't need to work story-wise. I'm pretty sure no one's going to be playing the game themselves for the story. It's going to be the same as Warframe. I feel like most of the player base, there will be some who will want to follow the story and follow the lore, but most of the player base ain't going to be playing the game for a story. They're going to be playing it for the end game, the looting. As in, you're doing a looter shooter, you want to collect everything, and with the servers, you're just not able to. My second thought on improvement is localization. They need a better person to kind of reread what they've wrote and actually have the mod descriptions and have things more freely available for people to find out and not be stuck looking around asking in Discord constantly, where do you get this? 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 It was kind of a joke in the Discord with how many people asked the exact same thing, even though the Discord was promoted and it just didn't have any sort of like indication of, hey, you can get this here, here's a helpful tip, this is from an official source type thing. It was kind of like, hey, let the community help out everything. It was kind of just didn't feel like it was properly done or given a new player friendly experience myself. Like, in my opinion, there was no real new player friendly experience inside of it. Now, for my third point, this is going to be more of a controversial thing because, of course, I understand the game is a free-to-play game. They need to make money somehow, but I'm hoping that they do stick to the monetization just being skins. I'd be fine if they went the Warframe route where it was skins, boosters, and if you want to buy the weapons outright or the frames outright, you can. They just won't have anything special to them. They may have like already catalyzed or whatever it was, the activators. They may already have that. But I don't want anything where it's like, hey, this is pay to win. I'm hoping they do just stick to the cosmetic route. And if they do stick to the cosmetic route, the best way I can see them doing this is releasing the models, the base models of the characters, and allowing the community to create skins for them. Warframe had done it exceedingly well with Tenogen, where a person could create a skin and have it voted on the community workshop to see if it would actually make it into the game. That would be a really cool way for both artists and the community to interact with the game and have some form of like rewarding thing of, hey, I made this and it's actually in a game now. That would be a really cool thing, and I would love to do that. When I studied game development, I did do character design but also level design. But if I was able to get the files for the models, I would happily create some skins, because being able to create something for a game you like playing, especially if you're going to be playing it quite a lot, it feels like, hey, there's a chance my skin could be in the game. And I feel like that could be something they can improve on. It would also give the emphasis of, hey, we want to go down the skin route. Like, sure, that it's going to be skins galore. As we've seen in the beta, there was quite a few skins. And I'm sure more and more are to come, especially with all the possible new characters coming out or the new ultimates. It would be cool to have some community interaction maybe, and have a place where people can submit their own skins and have it a chance. So I feel like that could be something you can improve on, maybe getting some community interaction done, because the beta didn't have much community interaction at all. Now for my final thought on what they can do to improve is going to be Discord related. They need to actually have some people to speak to us, have some community interaction, get the mods interacting with us, get the admins maybe interacting, especially get the community manager interacting with us, setting up things to kind of get people hyped for launch. So if they do release the launch date and they give us information about it, don't just go radio silent on us. Speak to us, give us like some interaction with you guys so we can understand what's going on, or like some just like community events to get some hype going around the game, because the only hype that was really influenced for the Discord was, hey, here's a Gamescom trailer. That was literally it. Of course, we had the bunny, the backpack for Bear. That was a poll prior to Gamescom. So pretty much like 90% of the Discord who joined at the current time never saw that poll because it was never advertised very well. It was kind of, hey, we've posted this poll. If you're following our Twitter, sure, go ahead. But at the time, most of the player base had never heard of the game because it hadn't been shown yet. So I feel like some interaction with the community, get some discussions going on, get some just general thoughts, advertise it a bit more to creators so they can start speaking about it. Have some interaction with us so we can actually advertise the game for you. That could be a really good point, especially for marketing, because there are some creators in the Discord who will speak to us. They won't speak about the game because there's nothing to speak about. We don't get any actual interaction from you guys. But that is probably going to be my final thought on it. I was planning to do a quick Q&A of questions, but I really couldn't figure out what to answer from the beta. I will say, if you did make it to the end of the video, thank you for listening and listening to my rambling thoughts, especially during the everything I didn't like about the beta. If you did like the video, feel free to like, subscribe, and comment what you liked or any questions you have for me down in the comments. If you want to ask anything else as well, feel free to join my Discord and follow me on Twitter. I will be playing this game when it does launch. Hopefully by then I'll have a better computer and a better understanding of how to edit. Most of this has been done in a day due to some crashing on my PC. So if there is anything editing wise as well you think I can figure out which might be better, let me know. I'd love to know how to edit videos kind of better. But for that, thank you for watching and have a good day.